Hey there everyone, happy Sunday. This is Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and this is an unplanned Facebook Live video, but I was in the studio working and I thought I would answer a question that I've had from a few of you. I have shared some tips just as graphics as opposed to a video showing you how I use the magnets with my glass mat. So and the question was, how many different ways do you use it? What else are you doing with those magnets? So I thought I would quickly show you that because I am using them in the studio today. So first and foremost, this is the glass mat. It's called the Glass Mat Studio because it does have a chamois cloth that comes with it, and then a really cool silicone mat that you can use for inks and all kinds of other things. So it is a three-piece studio and it's absolutely amazing. I have a whole video on the Glass Mat Studio that I will link up in the description of this video after this is over. So the magnet board that I'm using and the magnets I will also link as well. One of the first questions that I get is, doesn't this make the, say the word, Janet, make this wobble, make the glass mat wobble? Well, let's turn this over for just a second. And one of the things that you're going to notice is that the glass mat has these rubberized feet that elevate it slightly, but also help it grip your work surface. For myself personally, in my studio, I have silicone mats on my work surfaces. In this case, it happens to be gray just to add some extra contrast. At most of my other work surfaces, they're clear, just so that visually it doesn't take away from all of the white furniture in my studio. But anyway, we've got these feet, and when I lay this mat down, it fits between those feet, okay? That's one of the benefits first of this mat. This mat actually has 4 holes. It's designed to be hung on the wall, but we're not using it that way. So to answer that first question, it doesn't wobble. So we're gonna take this mat and we're gonna lay it down, and then we're gonna go ahead and lay the glass mat over it. So then one of the other comments that I get is, well, Janet, magnets don't work on this. It's allowing you, it doesn't magnetize the glass, okay? This is what's magnetized. You need to be able to have a magnet strong enough to hook up with this so that they can connect, okay? You're going to literally pull the magnetic abilities of this mat up through the glass mat. In order for that to happen, you need really heavy duty rare earth magnets. If you have the Stampin UP Stamparatus, you are familiar with these magnets. They're very, very powerful. I use 2 different types. I use the bar magnets, as those of you with the Stamparatus are familiar with. And then these are called push pin style, and I love these as well too. They have some weight to them, and these I use I use both types differently for different reasons. And you can kind of hear them catching, okay? Again, a regular old household magnet is not going to stick on this. This has some thickness to it, and so this magnet needs to be able to connect with this magnet that's below the mat. It doesn't hurt or scratch your glass mat in any way, shape, or form, and I've been using them for a while now. For my setup in my studio, I always leave about 1 inch or 2 off to the side, and I always keep at least 1 magnet off to the side over here. And I'll show you 3 ways that I use that and why I do that at this moment. So this surface here is nice and flat, and because of its little feet, it doesn't move, okay? It doesn't give. It makes it a perfect surface for using your die cutting machine on. You're not going to have any of that crazy wobble that happens unless your table is super, super unsteady, but you're not going to have any of that wobble. You're going to have a nice, really good cut. When I'm working with my die cut machine, I used to have a magnetic bowl. I still do. I inherited it from my mom, but I would still lay my dies down right beside me, and they would always kind of get shoved up and under things. So this magnet just allows me to stick the dies right here, and they're all in one place when I'm done. This is especially helpful for me as a demonstrator when I'm doing videos for you guys. I can just stick the dies there and then clean up after it's all over, but they're all in one place. Another way that I use this magnet is I am forever losing my scissors, okay? And scissors have a metal tip on them, And so I can just lay my scissors down on the magnet. They're always where I place them down at. They're not getting hidden under cards and papers and things like that that are on my table. So I use them to hold scissors. The other way that I use them is I keep some big-eyed needles handy on my work surface for times that I want to do small bows, thread tags, and things like that. And so when I've got that through, again, it's another place to put that metal needle so I'm not getting poked. So it's handy and I'm ready to work with it. So I use the magnet 3 different ways over here on the side, okay? Now, in terms of other ways that I use magnets, let's go to these ones especially. So I have this fun card, Booyah, Let's Celebrate. And I've got my little ghost. I have my bow, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open this card. This card is a center flap. I'm just going to open my card up. And I want to just check something here for a second. Let me just make sure that this magnet's going to go. Yep, it's going to go all the way through. So let's put our little ghost here in the middle that's flying by. And I have a linen thread bow that I want to put on here. So I'm going to put just a dab of glue, put my bow down, and then I can use my magnets to hold that in place while it's drying. And that works great for different layers and things like that, that you're wanting to stay in place while that glue dries. And if you, for some reason, get any glue buildup on here, just taking and waiting till it dries and then just rubbing it off has worked really well for me. But because that's connecting to the magnet here, nothing's shifting. It's got a nice grip. It's actually kind of pushing down on the glue, and it gives me a nice layer. So we're going to set that off to the side, and we'll come back and let it dry later. Then another great way to use your magnets is to hold masks in place when you're working with masks. So in this case, I have one of the frosted trees stamped. And if I want to go ahead and add the mask over top of it, if I put this across, both across the corner up here, both the mask and the cardstock is held in place. And if I just hold my finger down here, now I can take my dauber, I can take my brush, and I can go over top of it, and nothing's going to slide around, okay? So you've got that unless I purposely move it, but it's got a nice hold. And if you're really worried about it moving, of course, we can always add a second one down here in the other corner as well, and then you really have a nice grip on that mask so that you can have it in place and not worry about it shifting, or not worry about having your hand, you know, spread out trying to hold it, things like that. So you can hold your mask in place while you're doing masking. That's another way to use it. Yet another way is, again, if you want real precision, there's times when we're trying to line up a greeting, or we're trying to line up a, say the word, Janet, different images, especially with our multi-step stamps, our 2-step stamps. And let's give you an example of that here. So this is a brand new stamp set called Painted Petals. We're going to ink it up together for the first time. So just for this demonstration, but I picked colors because I had something in mind that I want to finish with afterwards. So we're just going to add some ink. And this is one of the dies that's going to kind of give you that realistic look, has shading built into it, or stamps, excuse me, not a die. We're going to stamp it right here in the middle. And so now I have those beautiful leaves. Now I have some flowers that are designed to fill in the holes. And again, I don't want this shifting. I want to be able to kind of line it up the way that I want it to be. And the magnets are keeping that firm because of this right here, okay? So, I do this every time, but we're gonna make it work. Some of my blocks are engraved. I have things engraved on them, which is fine for most times, but sometimes when it's 2-step stamping, here, this one says Remarkable Stampers, but sometimes when you're doing 2-step, you really want to be able to see the whole way through. But we're going to make it work. We're going to see exactly how these line up. Figure out where all the little flower stems are here for just a second. And if not, then we will do it again. So hang on a second. And if it's not 100% perfect, you're still going to ooh and ah, but you're going to get the idea. The basic is that we want to be able to stamp our image and then have our flowers line up. So if you want to hold your card in place for precision stamping, you can definitely do that. Then another way that you can use your magnets is there's times when you're going to want to maybe do a wash. You're going to want to use watercolors. You're going to want to like just kind of smooth things over the whole way on this. So we'll put a little bit of water on here just to start. And I'm just going to kind of smear that water around a little bit. Oops. One more thing. Let's just give this a good push. We're going to make kind of a watery looking background. We've got some sweet new otters to play with, so we need some water. And, you know, you're just making this really wet card, and, you know, we're just going to kind of go crazy here. So sometimes you've just got all that water, and you just want it to stay in place as you're doing stuff. But one of the things that I learned lately, that it was one of those things that the more you use a product that you own, the more that you use it, if that makes sense. So holding something in place while you're watercoloring or whatever. But sometimes when we're watercoloring, our paper gets kind of bent and things like that. So what I have found is that I can come in here, dry off my glass mat. And what's really nice is I can turn this upside down. I don't have to worry about staining anything. And I can put some magnets on the four corners to help it flatten out. So that's another way that I've recently started using it as well. So again, the magnet fits between the feet under the glass mat. The magnet alone doesn't allow magnets to stick. It doesn't make this suddenly magnetized, okay? You need really strong rare earth magnets to be able to connect with the mat through the glass. But I love that because there are magnetized glass mats out there, okay? But the problem is it's always magnetized and it weighs a ton. This has a really nice weight to it. I love that I can move it very easily. It's not heavy. I guess the nice weight to it, right? And so if I don't want it magnetized, I can take this board away if I don't want magnets sticking around or anything like that. So I love having the options, okay? But again, in order for this board to work, you need the magnets. That's one of the things that people go, oh, I'll just get the magnetic board. It'll be magnetized and I'll use whatever refrigerator magnet I have at home. And that's not the case, okay? Many of you have bought magnets for your refrigerator only to watch them do the down the front of it, right? Because again, they're still not strong enough. There's different strengths of magnets out there. So rare earth is what you want. I will link the video with tips and things that I've done on the Glass Mat Studio. It makes an amazing Christmas present for your favorite crafter, even if that's yourself. And I will list the board again for those of you who've been kind of skeptical about it. And I'll list the two different types of magnets. But again, you're going to find lots of uses. And I said it before and I'm going to say it again. The more you use something, the more you're going to find uses for it. So I actually now have 6 of these in my studio, as crazy as it sounds. Been using my host rewards. But I have one here at my social media video table. I have one at my crafting table. And then I have finally upgraded my little island where 4 guests sit. And my guests each now are being pampered with one of these at their place. So I thought that would be a great use of my host reward dollars from different things and orders that I've placed for crafting supplies, class supplies, and things like that. But I will tell you, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I might need another one just for, as you saw, drying and holding things, flattening cardstock over at another crafty station that I have. So it's in the back of my head. I know it sounds excessive for some, but we all have to know how we craft in our space that we've created for our crafting. But it says a lot if I'm willing to take and make that kind of investment in more than one of them. Because again, the more I use it, the more I love it, because I find more uses for it. So have a great afternoon crafting. And I actually will be back this evening. I do have another video. So I will be popping on at 8 p.m. Central Time. I did have something fun planned to share with you guys then. We'll be making the little pocket place setting holder that you've seen in the holiday catalog. So we'll be making that together at 8 p.m. Central tonight. Thanks, guys.